Today on Toy Habits, we are reviewing the Russian spy indoctrinated by the Red Room 5 times to become an elite assassin, the Marvel Legends Melina figure from the Black Widow movie 2-pack. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits, and today we are taking a detailed look at Melina from the Red Guardian and Melina 2-pack from the Black Widow movie. And let's start off like we usually do by taking a look at the box. And the Red Guardian and Melina come in the Marvel Legends window display box where you can see all of their accessories that they come with. And like most of the Marvel Legends boxes, they usually are pretty basic and they usually just have the logo of the movie or the comic that they're representing here with the Marvel Legends series branding, and they also have the Black Widow logo at the top of the box here. And since this review is focused on Melina, let's take a look at the art on the side of the box that represents her. And looking at Melina's side of the box, there is a similar cel-shaded animation, and you can't believe how many takes it took me to get that right. Anyway, you have that same animation style, and she is looking off in the distance, and I love the way that the grays and the blacks and the whites just really bring the character to life here. And you can even see it with her hair, the way that the whites and the grays kind of play off the blacks. It gives a nice representation of her hair. And if we move down, you can see her snowsuit, and the grays and the whites just give the animation a lot of dimension and detail here. But funny thing, Melina is actually the Iron Maiden in the comic. So her on-screen representation does not come close to looking like her comic representation, so that leaves me wondering, when are we going to see the Iron Maiden? And looking at the back of the box, we have the same images that are on the sides of the box for each of them. So I'm not a big fan of the boxes reusing art like this, and I wish they had given this another animation or way to represent Melina and the Red Guardian, because that would have made the box a lot more interesting to look at. Alright, so let's first start off by looking at Melina's head sculpt, and right off the bat you'll see that she vaguely resembles Rachel Weisz. So let's see what they did here. So I think they made Melina's head a little too round, and if you look at Rachel Weisz's pictures, her cheekbones are very pronounced in here, so she does have some good definition in her facial features which are not present here. That said, she does look like Rachel Weisz from different angles, so this looks a little bit more like her if you turn her to the side, but if you're looking at her dead on, it's a stretch. But putting that aside, they did do a good job with her facial detail here. You do see some freckle detail, and I think that's a mole, or if that's a defect on my figure, who knows. But I thought they did a great job with the eyebrows and the way that the eyes are painted on here, and they look really lifelike. The lips also look natural, and if we turn her hair sculpt to the side, you can see the hair detail, and she has her hair in a ponytail, and I do like the fact that they have a very layered look to this ponytail. All the hair fits in, but then you have chunks of hair that are sitting outside of the ponytail, which I think gives the hair a good depth and dimension. And moving down to Melina's torso, they did give her some sculpting detail on her abdomen and on her chest, which makes it look like the suit is very form-fitting, and I love all the angles that they put in the sculpting detail there. And you do see the black straps that connect to her backpack on her back. And taking a closer look at the backpack, it is a diamond shape, and it does hold the accessories that she comes with, which we'll show you later, but I do love the red detail that they put on the backpack here. Now the backpack is molded onto Melina. You actually can't take it off, but I do like the sculpting detail that they have in her lower back here. It just makes the figure look a lot more interesting from the back. And taking a closer look at Melina's arms, there is some differentiation from the deluxe Black Widow figure that this mold is pulled from, where we have some bone white paint app on her glove, we have some bone white paint app on her elbow pad, and also a bone white piece of shoulder armor with some red accents here. And I think it makes the figure look a lot better, and it definitely pops on the white suit. And moving down to her belt, She was packed with her guns, so I left them in the holster there. But as you can see, the belt is removable and movable, but I'm not sure really how to get it off, and I'm really not going to try, but it's not a piece that is sculpted to this figure like the backpack is. And if we zoom in close, you can see the little itty bitty Black Widow symbol there on her belt. Aside from the symbol, the belt has some good detail here. You know, we do see a leathery-like belt with some strap detail, and the belt looks more like a garter than a belt, how it's affixed to her thighs. But I really like the look because if they didn't put this on the figure this way, this would have been a very boring figure in a plain white suit. And taking a closer look at her pants, she does have some sculpting detail on her pants, and as we move down to the knee pads, again we have that bone white paint app on her knee pads that go with her gloves, her elbow pad, and her shoulder armor. And moving down to the boots, we have a basic boot with more of a platform-like shoe, and there is a tiny bit of sculpting detail here, but it's really a basic boot with a couple of straps. Now, Melina comes with a lot of accessories, which include 3 sets of hands, which are a grip, a pistol, and a fist. She also comes with a grappling hook, 2 pistols, and 2 batons. So let's start off by looking at her gripping fist, and I'm only going to pick up one of these because her hands are pretty much the same, just the right and the left, and it looks just like a basic gripping fist, and we do see that bone white glove paint app here again. And moving on to her standard fist, which could be a punching fist. Again, it's a really basic hand, and again you see that bone white detail on this fist as well. And moving on to her grappling hook, I do like the fact that the grappling hook has some jagged edges to it. It just gives it a little more detail and makes it look a little more interesting, as well as the sculpting detail at the base of it here too. And taking a look at one of her pistols, I think they did a good job just making this as small as it can be, and it is really tiny, and it's really hard to manipulate it in her hands, especially in her trigger finger, trying to get that trigger finger to swing around there. And last but not least, let's take a look at her batons. And the batons are pretty basic, although they did add some silver detail to them. And the paint app on the baton is not the best. There is some overspill on the silver there, but I actually don't know who or what paints these things, and I can imagine it being pretty hard to paint. And here is Melina all geared up with her 2 pistols in her hand and her batons in her backpack. And I do think the batons sit really high on her backpack, which I think was an issue with the Black Widow figure from last year. So it looks like they didn't make any corrections on that. It would have been nice if you can actually push these batons a lot further down so they don't stick up as high as the top of her head. But that said, it's still a good look for Melina, and she actually looks really cool with her guns and batons. So I wanted to give you another demonstration on how the baton should have fit in Melina's backpack, and I actually was able to shove the baton underneath her backpack for some reason. This was the first time I was putting it in and it actually went underneath. So as you can see, it sits a lot lower on Melina's back, and it just looks a lot better than the one that is going so high over her head. And here she is with her batons in hand, and I threw her guns back in her holster, and there's definitely a lot of posability options with this particular figure, and I think this figure displays really well with the guns in the holsters and the batons in the hand. And here she is posing with her grappling hook, and again, there are so many ways to display this figure, so whatever accessory is to your liking is how you should do it. Have it your way. Well, that's a wrap on Melina, and we would love to know what you think of this figure. Did you buy the 2-pack? Did you like the movie? Sound off in the comments below, and please remember to hit that subscribe button on your way out.